Welcome to the first ever Dungeons & Dragons Let's Play. I'm Bryce, playing the half-orc ranger Fergus Bog. And I'm joined by Teddy.
Hello, that's me. I'm playing a half-elf paladin, like I usually do in anything, whose name is Rokuzin, which is my MMO character name that I always use.
And Matt.
Hello, I'm playing a tiefling sorcerer by the name of Morthos Volketh.
And a surprise guest, Aaron.
Hi, I'm Erin. I am playing a wood elf bard named Cookie Kebler. That's it.
And you never saw it coming, it's Beckers.
Hi, I'm Beckers, and I'm a bear.
That's it, she's just a bear.
And creating this wonderful tale for all of us to enjoy, it is our dungeon master for this game, dungeon mistress, Katie Quixotic from the internet.
Katie whatever.
Thanks, great.
Yeah, so, do you have anything else you normally do when you kick off? Or?
No, we haven't done this kind of thing before, so I'm going to hand it over to you.
So, you all find yourself in a little town called Tanaba. It's moderately sized, about 200 people. It is halfway on the road between Tribor and Red Larch, which are known Faerunian cities. Red Larch is about 3 times the size of Tanaba, so it's a big village. Tanaba is a very small village. It cropped up as sort of a waypoint between those two cities along a main trade route. It's pretty much exactly a 2-day journey between the two, walking distance. So pretty much right smack dab in the middle is this little town. It's got a little bit of a local logging industry, but it's mostly just a place for people to sleep, stop and hawk some wares along their way on their trade routes, and then continue on about their lives. So when you arrive, you first immediately notice that there's a notice board sort of towards the entrance of town off the main road, and there's a big gold painted filigreed, fancy looking pamphlet almost. It's nailed to it, talking about the summer festival that should be happening today. Now, some people came on purpose to see it, and some might be just passing through. Do you want to clarify who is arriving with whom or by themselves, and whether or not you are here intentionally or by happenstance? And we'll just start with Cookie.
All right, well, Cookie, she is a Kebler elf. She is from a guild of the Keblers, who are very well known for their amazing baked goods. And she is out traveling to find new and exotic ingredients for new recipes to try out to expand the Kebler Guild Empire, whatever thing. And she is pretty like a smaller elf. I kind of picture her as like Saria from Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, like kid-ish size Saria, but with like pink hair. She's very happy-go-lucky. She's really good with people, so has really good charisma, but she is quite an anxious person, as she hasn't gone out on her own very often. She's always been with like other elves that, have kind of like helped her along the way, but this is kind of like one of her first times out and about on her own. Or I guess she has her bear companion, which we'll get to later. But that's about how Cookie is.
How did you and Bear meet?
Bear and Cookie, they live in the same forest. And one day, Bear they smelt some good stuff, so they came into the HQ and was going to eat some things, and Cookie kind of swayed her to a different direction so that she wouldn't like go overboard and just kind of has given her baked goods to keep her like chilled out, and she just kind of follows Cookie around.
Then transitioning over to Bear, you could tell us a little bit about where you're from, what you're doing, what you look like, that sort of thing.
I'm a bear. I'm a black bear, so that's what I look like. And I'm a hermit bear because I hugged somebody too hard and I got kicked out of an accident happened and I got kicked out of my where I was living. So now I'm a hermit living on my own, except I found an elf that feeds me things.
Can I ask who you were living with before? Like, is there a society of bears?
She didn't think she'd be questioned.
Like, is this a town of bears that all are living together?
Don't push it,
And the
buddy,
bears
or you'll
kick
get
you out,
squeezed.
or are these other humans that just fully accepted a
Were you
bear
from
into
the
their
circus?
community?
Yeah, I was from the circus.
Okay, that's fair. They kicked you out of the circus. Okay.
Yeah,
And if I remember correctly, the homebrew sort of stuff that we're using is for like an awakened bear, right? So you're kind of like, so you're something between like a normal bear, because there's a bit of like speech understanding and stuff there, correct? So
It said just like simple commands. So like something you could probably train a dog to understand.
Oh, okay, so maybe not actually awakened then. I love it. It's so great.
You get to just chill then. You're just, for the most part, just you get to just experience the story, and every now and then you get told to go attack something. You're like, all right.
And fed a cookie.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So Becker really kind of is the pet.
Yeah. I love it. So you two arrive. We'll say first. And you are here on purpose. You're expecting this. You see the sign. It's nice and reassuring to you that you've arrived at the right time. You can see that it's a decent sized village, but it is very small in the grand scheme of things. You can see that it is definitely bustling more than even a city of this size would normally be. There are a lot of people here. There is another little sort of like another pamphlet that doesn't look like it was made by the same people, that's sort of like tacked on the notice board nearby. And it says, it's got like a list of the inns in the town, and most of them are marked off as no vacancies. There are two, though, that do have vacancies. One of them is called the Nightingale's Perch. They have a few rooms left. It's owned by Tabitha Brightgaze, as the little notice says. And it's got some quoted rates, like one gold purse per night, access to meals, a shared single bath, 1 drink per guest. There's 2 beds in there. Comes with the room. But single rooms are available for 5 silver. It also has a sign that says the Herald's Rest has a few rooms left. That is owned by Alrondo Day. That establishment is 4 gold pieces per night. It includes meals, a private bath, supplies for luxuriating in said bath, 3 house drinks, or 2 fine drinks per guest. And there's 2 large beds in those rooms. So it's kind of like for the people coming in last minute, here's 2 places that are kind of like left in town.
Which one allows bears?
That would be a conversation that you'll need to have with the innkeep, because I imagine that would largely depend upon the behavior of said creature.
Sure.
You gotta sneak the bear through the back.
Maybe,
yeah.
Or if it's perfectly well behaved, it wouldn't be. So in a world like this, where people can cast magic and create things in the air but out of sheer will, it's not altogether uncommon for people to have animal companions. There are rangers in the world who have animal companions. So there's a difference between somebody walking in with like a wild animal that's caged and a creature that is bipedal or even just like super well behaved and like obviously not controlled, but like well behaved and well mannered, trained to be in polite society. There are spells that can conjure such things as well. So it might, like, they might ask for a deposit or something like that. You might have run into that on more than one occasion, just in case. But it's not something that would be. There are much more strange things that can happen in the world than you walking around with a bear, honestly.
With my bear companion. Okay.
Yeah.
So am I just picking which one to go check out, or?
Well, right now this is just something that you notice, and it'll be
It's
something
like,
for you to
might have to
consider.
check it out later.
Yeah, and then you all, of course, will be heading into town for the festival. So then moving on to next, we'll go to Fergus. You arrive, you see the same thing. Are you here on purpose, or are you passing through on your way from one city to another?
I think Fergus is probably passing through. He definitely doesn't like to stay anywhere too long. I'm gonna give the highlights about Fergus. I've already covered. He is a half orc ranger. I'm gonna slip in. I'm gonna let Fergus come out for a second and let him introduce himself.
Unleash the beast.
My name is Fergus Bog. You might know the story the bards tell of my parents. My mother was a princess from the kingdom of Farway. And after she was cursed at quite a young age to cause her to appear as a orc at night, her parents had banished her to the highest tower in the land until a great prince could rescue her. Unfortunately, my dad was the rescuer, who happened to also be an orc. And, well, they fell in love, and me and my siblings were the creation of that story. The things the bards don't tell you is that my grandparents weren't a big fan of orcs. And after they heard what happened to their daughter, they sent mercenaries after us, and after a long battle, I was the only one who survived. So I'm just trying to get out here, defend the kingdom of Farway, and get my kingdom back. But also, I'm here for the Carnival game, so I'm really excited to win myself a stuffed toy. I think that's really gonna help in my goals.
Wow.
So on your journey to win your kingdom back is maybe something that's kind of like a side goal, like making a name for yourself. And
I think I for sure do need to be welcomed as part. I need the kingdom to respect me when I take over. I don't want them to think I'm a usurper, even though I am bloodline royalty here. People need to understand I am the son of the princess. I'm in line for the kingdom. But I want everyone to accept me as the proper noble ruler of the kingdom of Farway.
That'll be an easy transition, especially if you've gained some notoriety as somebody who's gone around doing good work. So it makes sense that you would travel a lot.
Indeed,
there you go.
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay. So lovely. What do you look like? What are you wearing?
I'm half orc, very green, as are my people. I still have the proper robes and attire of my lineage that has been passed down from my mother. They maybe don't fit me as well as they did when I received them, because it has been some years since my mother gave them to me, but they're still holding up all right. I try and wash them every month or so. So some nice fine-ish robes and such, maybe a little worse for wear.
Okay, I love it. So you see the sign advertising the festival, the carnival games that are noted catch your eye. There's also talk about a fire dancer. That's some sort of like local folk thing that seems to happen very often. There are some magicians some mages who plan to do some sort of a pyrotechnic-esque type show once the sun goes down. And it's promising to be a good evening, and there's even a pretty nice place to stop and rest for the evening, whenever rest takes you, since you do see that those listings are available still in the town here. And then, so Morthos, are you coming here on purpose, or are you passing through?
I am here. Let's call it a happy coincidence. I noticed that there was a festival happening in a nearby town, and when people gather for festivals and things like that, other folk tend to follow, and around the fun times might be a little bit shadier of an element, and that kind of thing piques my interest.
Okay.
I'm wearing dark common clothes, including a hood, so I'm trying to, keep a low profile, but it is a small town, so I might stand out a little bit, but I don't want to necessarily be identified.
Fair. You are relieved a bit as you approach. Having done your research, you know about the size of the town village. It's sizable, so it's not small enough that you're going to walk down the street and everybody's going to notice who you are. But in particular, right now, because there just seems to be a large amount of people here, there's an influx. It's full. There's the streets are crowded. People are walking shoulder to shoulder. So there's a bit of relief as you arrive and you see that the size of the town could easily have maybe even doubled right now, just with the sheer amount of activity, the throngs of people that are here. So there's a little bit of relief. You also see the advertisement out. You're able to peruse the sort of plans throughout the day they have for activities and see the same rooms that are open, the more modest and the more splendid environments that are available for rest, should that become a thing. And then, last but not least, we have Rokuzin. I think that's everybody else, right? Yeah. So, are you arriving on purpose, or are you just passing through?
I am absolutely here to play some carnival games.
Okay.
Win some prizes. Yeah. That's the whole what else is life about,
Right. And for as small of a village as this particular festival is kind of known in this region for having like a particularly lively environment this time of year. So especially if games pique your interest, then this is something that you would have heard about more than once as kind of like the place to be during this particular summer festival.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So, what do you look like? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a paladin, so I'm out here just being a paladin. I'm up in that, got all that armor on, just bright shining gold armor. I don't have like a giant hammer or a giant sword or anything. I have 2 short swords at my belt for some dual wielding. What else? I don't know. I look like me, but like stronger and longer hair, like good old like Aragorn hair, like Aragorn shoulder length, same color as me though, and probably like a thicker beard, and that's kind of where we're at.
Okay,
maybe
Teddy's
a little taller.
really getting
Let's
into
go
the
with
role
that.
playing, really picturing himself.
I always
like
do this.
me.
Is I'm just like, we're going with this. We're running with it.
So, when you enter sort of off the main road, everyone, as they come in at their respective times, will notice that the immediate area is definitely the sort of like market-esque type district. There are a few standing buildings, but it is mostly more of like a transient style, like bazaar, where there are individual carts that are set up with like breakdown stands, because there is so much commerce and trade that goes on as people are passing through, that when someone stops to rest for the evening, they put up a stand, they hawk their wares. There's even more now than there would normally be, as there are things in for the festivals, like trinkets of the area. You'll see a lot of they're like small like carved out of wood or made from stone statues that look like a warrior woman holding a sword. She's got like a shield in one hand, and there just seems to be like that sort of a theme everywhere. Go ahead and first roll of the game, for anyone who came here on purpose for the festival, make a history check for me.
Morthos rolled a 4.
A 4.
Rokuzin rolled an 11.
Okay.
Cookie rolled a 9.
Morthos and Cookie, you've heard of the festival. It sounds like a lot of fun. You don't know a whole lot about like the history or the inception of it, though. Rokuzin, you know that part of the origin of this festival surrounded there was once, although now the predominant religion in this or like faith, I should say, in this city is more like Timora leaning. There was a large following for Selune for a while, and since they track constellations a lot, the constellation that's most present in the sky this time of year is the Warrior Woman constellation. And it's said that sometime long ago there was some sort of like astrological event that caused the stars within that constellation to glow more brightly than they had on other nights. And the people took it as a sign. They started off as like a yearly sort of, instead of it being a festival, it was more like considered maybe a holy day. They did extra sort of like prayers and offerings. And eventually, as that caused people to come in and make pilgrimages, it turned into more of like a festival. And as that sort of sacred feel was lost over time, it's turned mostly into a celebration of kind of like the mid to turning point of summer where fall's coming and the harvest is upcoming, and generally just kind of more of like a celebration of like the nice weather and stuff now than it kind of being more dedicated towards that that symbology. So that's something that's on your mind only.
Okay.
as you're here.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, in my head canon, I was already like, my character like grew up in a town somewhere near-ish to where he knows about the village and knows about the carnival, and he used to come here when he was a kid and whatnot. So yeah.
Aww.
That's my head canon. Yeah.
So as you're walking through town, you notice the remaining temple that's in the town is dedicated to Tymora, and the person who there was an older human woman who tended it and had an acolyte when you were younger, and she has since left or maybe has passed on, and that acolyte that had originally been studying under her is now taken over, and they purvey and take care of the temple and see to all of the like Timoran rituals and such things. So you also know that out front, beside the temple, is a little. It's like a little fountain that's been built up over a naturally occurring underground spring. It's not a huge one. It's not very large. The pool of water itself is only about like 3 feet across in like a roughly round shape. But recognizing this water source. And in kind of questioning the size of it and the position in the city in relation to all of these like history-specific events that seem to indicate that this town also had like a significance to some people, they constructed this well as kind of like one of those sort of like toss a coin type of wells, like the Trevi Fountain style sort of thing. So you know that's one of the sort of like, every year when you would come here, your parents would take you there and you would always toss a coin in and you would hope for good fortune because, of course, with Tymora, what is the phrase? A gift to the lady pays threefold in gold. So if you're coming here and you want to play carnival games, you might want to stop there for a little bit of extra luck on your way.
That's cute. I like it.
So you've all made your way into town. The different things that have caught your eye have been maybe like what you've made your initial beeline towards. And this was your first thing. You stopped here first because this was kind of like a family thing you had always done. So what are you going to toss into the fountain?
Just a little bit of change. I don't know what that is, but less than gold.
A gold piece. So adventurers are wealthy. In the D&D world, a commoner's monthly earnings are about a gold or two. Wow. Not an artisan who creates fine crafts, theirs would be more, but a commoner who lives modestly well would make a gold or two a month. That's what it takes to cover their like monthly living expenses and whatever they would have left over. Adventurers often have several months worth on hand, but that's because the work you do could cause you to die at any moment. And because your living is more expensive since you're traveling and having to buy everything out, and people just pay, for dangerous tasks like hazard pay. So for you, a lot of money is different for a commoner, but you never know when the next job will come. So, if you want to be more conservative, maybe like a couple of copper would get you like a meal and a drink at a tavern. So enough for a meal's worth would be a couple of copper.
Yeah, that's a good amount to.
Okay,
to
so like 2 copper.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Go ahead and roll a 1d100 to me. For me, not to me. Don't roll it to me.
Across the internet.
So 35. So you stop at this this fountain, and it's kind of like nostalgic for you. You remember coming here as a kid, and this whole festival is something that you look forward to, and you're glad to be back. And nothing special has ever happened when you've done this before, but it is kind of like ritualistic, and being a paladin, you're kind of prone towards things like that, right? So you come over, you take out your 2 copper, you toss them in, and the minute the coins touch the water, there's a little bit of a fizz there, almost like a bath bomb in a way. There's it's metal and it touches water, and there should not be that type of reaction, but within the ripple is almost like this kind of like fizziness that erupts out of it. And you don't necessarily like hear anything, but there's just this sort of like feeling that washes over you that's like healthsome. Like you feel particularly like well constituted today. Like, you know, you'd usually feel like healthy and strong as you do, but there's just something more like vital to the feeling that you're having today.
I don't know why, but I immediately thought of like the little thing in Undertale. What is it? A mouse that's like your determination grows stronger or whatever. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I immediately thought. I was like,
Oh my
okay,
That's
cool.
That's so funny. Yeah,
Let's do it.
I love it. Yeah, you're filled with determination.
Yeah, you're filled with determination.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's so perfect. So the rest of you, whatever game it was you were heading towards, whatever sweet treat caught your nose as you were smelling around, perhaps, you're all making your way, and you're passing by this Timoran temple, and you think like, luck might be good to have luck on my side today. And you see this man standing there. He's large, he's shiny, he's very like noticeable, and he tosses these coins in. And if you've been here before, you would know that people do this. And you don't necessarily see what it is that happens, but when he tosses the coins in the water, it's almost like the sheen on his armor, that's like that sort of like gray shininess that comes with any kind of like beaten metal armor like that, almost like there's this gold glint on it for a second, and it catches all of your eyes. You notice this happen.
Teddy?
And it's definitely like it happened immediately after he tossed those coins in. What was your question?
Teddy's so shiny.
I am.
That's
I'm
all
very
I
shiny.
want to say.
I'm very shiny. Not just like the oil on my forehead, but like the armor. You know?
It dripped down. It got into the
Yeah.
armor. That's how he shines.
It really
up.
cleans the armor.
Yeah.
Seeing
That's so
the
great.
display of Rokuzin throwing coins into the water, I take note of that and I begin kind of just following him at a distance. You know, see this guy in shiny gold armor just throwing money away. I'm just gonna, see what he's up to.
Okay.
I totally thought you were about to like loot the fountain. Like I'm gonna come back here later at night and just take all the coins out.
If you were to go look in the fountain, there are several coins in there, and some of them are gold. Most of them are copper.
Just so you know.
Point of note, the gold sheen to his armor that initially caught your eye it's a little confusing, because as he begins to like make his way on wherever it is that he's going, you notice his armor's not gold.
How odd.
Interesting.
How odd.
Okay.
Fancy lights.
So you're gonna go ahead.
Can I roll a history check to see if I also know about this fancy fountain?
History or religion, either one, now that there's like something that's piqued your interest about it. Whichever you think would be like better or more appropriate.
I'll roll history because I have nobility. I think I've got good history.
Yeah, that makes sense. The education.
I got a 10.
Okay. So you look over the temple and you see the symbol of Timora. There's also a small like statuette out in front of it that almost looks like a little halfling woman. Timora is often portrayed in this sort of image as like a small female creature, and so the halflings have often said that she's actually one of their gods that the big folk stole. But so it's very easily recognizable as a Timoran temple. It's common for them to have fountains out where people toss coins in. This one is interesting because it doesn't look like a manufactured fountain so much as just like a pool of water, and it seems pretty normal that somebody would toss coins into a fountain by a Timoran temple. The sheen on his armor doesn't seem normal, especially now as it fades away when he turns and starts moving again, and you can see that his armor is not golden. So it's interesting, and this seems like a very like, oh, this makes perfect sense. No wonder that person's doing that. It's a Timoran temple, of course.
I think Fergus definitely like is piqued by this, and but then he notices, oh, this is the halflings thing, and just goes, oh, halflings, and then just kind of walks off. He's got some issues with halflings.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she is celebrated by all races, but they particularly say that she was theirs first, and that's why she's depicted as being looking shorter like a halfling would. Okay. Yeah. So, which carnival games, or I mean, if anyone else wanted to stop and take a look at, they could, and if not, I'm gonna start asking you about carnival games.
Carnival games.
Okay.
Carnival games.
Cookie. what is the carnival game that you and Bear, actually Cookie and Bear, I should say, because you're together, so I'll address you together for the time being. What is going to pique your interest most? Go ahead.
Can I ask, is Cookie riding on Bear or is Bear walking beside Cookie?
No,
is there a leash?
They're walking I kind of see Cookie like leading the way, but Bear is very close behind. So like I see like this really small little elf and then this big black bear behind her. That's how I'm kind of picturing this.
Waiting for the treats to appear.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
Is Bear bipedal or walking like normally, like a bear would on all fours?
All fours.
Okay. So, and that is something that you all notice too, is like there's this golden glint out of the corner of your eyes. You all kind of turn and look, except for Rokuzin, who was the one who caught all of your attention. And then as the rest of you kind of like turn away, and as you turn to walk away from that Rokuzin, you all do notice a big black bear following a rather short pink-haired elf. And that's something of note. You know, it's not uncommon for people to walk around with pets, but the pairing of the small elf and the large bear just kind of walking around is not the normal commoner. It is something also of note.
Mm-hmm.
So that said, what kind of carnival game would you be looking for? Like a game of skill, a game of chance, a pie eating contest?
I definitely think Cookie would be looking for more of like the concession stand for sure.
Okay.
Or like if there's any specific like merchants from like around this area, like with their own goods, like baked goods or fruit or spices of some kind, of like their signature stuff for her to try and taste and get inspiration for.
Okay.
So that's kind of what she would be mainly looking out for, at least when they like first get there.
Okay.
So if that's anything.
Yeah, sure, of course. So, so you're on the lookout, of course, for new recipes, for things to add, for new culinary experiences, and I'm sure Bear benefits from those as well. So while you make an investigation check to see if you can walk around, talk to people, smell the treats in the air, find where the bakers are, and see what they're doing, where the cooks are, and see what's up there. Bear, you can also make a perception check that I believe will be with advantage because it's based on smell, right?
Yeah, I have an advantage on perception that relies on smell.
Yeah, so you go ahead and make a perception check with advantage to see if you can. You're here for the treats too, and you know that where she's going is where the treats are going to be. So you definitely want to help her get there, I imagine.
We're both going in the direction of the smells.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got a 10 from Cookie.
12.
So with your 10, you're able to, like, you're kind of walking around and you're looking and you can smell the cooking, but there's like a lot of the carnival games are offering like baked goods and food as prizes as well. So it's a little bit difficult at first to suss out where the actual baking and cooking might be being done. And as you're kind of like walking and you're looking around, Bear is like, ooh. That way.
We need to go that way.
Yeah, basically. So how would you notice that it is kind of like you are on the generally right path, but you need to like curve around this tent. You can smell it. You know it's coming from over there. How do you gesture to Cookie? How do you tell Cookie this is where we need to go? a little bear whimper. I love it.
This sounds like Chewbacca.
Yeah, it did kind of sound like Chewie.
I love
It's like, I know that sound, and I'm like, oh gosh, we got to go check this out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're able to make your way over there, and it's like a food court. You're right. Like there's like this sort of like bizarre sort of area. There's a carnival game set up, and although many of those do have food as prizes, this is the sort of area where there's the like meat on a stick, and here's your fried foods on a ring that you can eat, and all the different sort of like portable ways that they have, because nobody here has like paper boats that they give you things in. It's all cooked as one thing. You take it and go. Past all of the like foods you can eat are the like piles of baked goods, where there's like individual stands where they've got like croissants here, and then they've got pastries here, and then they've got like kolaches here and different things like that. And there's not necessarily like a baking competition here, but there's kind of like an unofficial people coming in from the neighboring towns to say like our small hamlet has the best little like, we have the best blueberry tarts and none of you can compare, and here's our blueberry tarts and everybody will know that ours are the best. So there is a bit of like friendly rivalry going on. The air is still like jovial and everything, but you can tell that there's like the people who are selling their wares are doing that sort of like, well, you know, the Tribor and Fields have the best wheat, and so our pastries have the
best in
fluffiest texture.
Town. Can't get it anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. So while you're there and you're looking around, do you think you would be looking more for like a spice or more for like a fruit?
Probably fruit. I would think fruit.
Okay.
More fruit.
So while you're taking a look around, there's one particular stand that catches your eye. It's got a little banner at the top. It's just like a white flag almost. And it's got just like a little trifold pastry looking thing on it with like purple kind of like oozing out the ends. It's like embroidered. It's a picture that's been embroidered on there, but it's none of the rest of the stands have anything like that out. And while the others have like a bit of variety and dimension to what they're offering, this one specifically only has this one trifolded pastry that's got this like purple sort of like jam looking thing inside of it. And there's a line. There's a line at that one.
Definitely got to check it out.
Yeah, there are fruits that kind of turn purplish when you cook them, like blueberries often do that, but not a whole lot of them, and it doesn't smell like blueberry. So that's something that, like, you might want to get in line and see what you can get out of them. You know, talk them into it. Okay. So while you all are doing that, let's move over to Morthos. So you're following Rokuzin around.
Right.
Were he's a moneyed individual, and you're looking to see if you can.
Exactly.
What are you doing? Just keeping
I watched
an eye
him
on him?
throw away, a good meal's worth of money, just kind of carelessly into the fountain, and then saw his shiny armor and said, that guy's probably got more money. I'll see what he's up to. He looks like an easy mark.
Okay. What's the first carnival game you're going to go to then, Rokuzin?
Definitely the mallet game.
Okay,
if that is
for
a
sure.
thing.
Oh, absolutely. They have one. It's like
Sure.
It's very like you can tell that the gnomes were in on this one. It's like a series of like pulleys and levers, and there's all this kind of stuff that's like stacked up into this tower. And on the side is a little red like piece of metal, and you can see the big flat surface and then the like comically oversized mallet that's there. And there's like he looks like he's probably one of the local loggers. He's like this large barrel-chested man with a big beard, and he's got his like light summer clothes on. It looks like sort of like peasant Sunday best sort of thing, where it's like clean, nice clothing that's obviously not work clothing, but it's still just like simple fabrics or whatever. And he's standing there, and he's got like a mug in one hand, and he's like looking out over the crowd. Doesn't seem to be too much of a line here. Just you are far more like strong than the average person. So being that this is sort of like a kind of like a remote area, there's probably only a few people who would be interested in a game like this. But he's the sort of person that you look at and you're like, this is another strong person like me. No wonder he's doing this. Like, whatever. Like, it makes sense that it's him that's standing here, like waiting to see who's going to come and be like excited about being strong like he is. And there's like piles of like neatly stacked in these little baskets, like folded baked goods, and there's like a meat smell in the air, so you can tell that like one of the prizes is a meat pie.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm hungry. I just threw away a whole meal's worth
dinner.
of money. So like I'm gonna go win this dinner. I'm gonna go win this meat pie.
All right, sweet. So you walk up. He sees you coming. Oh, hello, friend. Are you here to test your mettle?
Yes, I am. Give me the hammer. Let's go.
He pats on the hammer, and it's like he takes it and kind of like knocks it against the side of the thing, and it makes a distinct metal sound. He goes, haha, get it? Metal? As he like picks up the hammer and hands it over to you.
You know what? My reaction is not, oh my god. My reaction is, that was great. That's a good one, man. I love it.
I've been working on it all week. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So I take back, wind up, swing, and then I don't know, where does it go?
Okay, so go ahead and make an athletics check for me. It would be the same as an attack roll at this point anyway. So 15. So you pick up this hammer and you go to make this like really nice, strong swing. And as you're doing it, that like confidence that you felt earlier, you're like, yeah, I got this. And you swing and you hit down the thing, and the little red piece of metal goes shooting up to the top, and it hits a bell and it rings it. And he's like, "Whoa, wow, didn't think that you'd be able to do that." And he looks like both impressed and a little like, oof, like that was really obviously impressive. And maybe he feels a little bit like he underestimated you at first. Not that he like openly did that, but it was kind of like the sort of impressed when you don't think that somebody was gonna be able to accomplish something.
Nice.
And so he's kind of like, well, do you want a pie or a pint?
Definitely a pie. I'm hungry.
He picks up the basket he's got back there, and he holds one out, or he holds the basket out to you to take one. And it's like beef. They're beef pies. When you bite into, are you eating it now?
I'm gonna go find like a little table, and I'll sit down and I'll eat it.
Yeah. It's not small. It's like a good like pot pie size sort of thing. So that's nice. Yeah. So you see this happening, Morthos, and he goes over, and like as he's making this swing, there's just this sort of like you're in tune to like magic, and it doesn't feel like magic, but there's just like something going on. Something's happening. There's like, it's almost like he's vibrant, just existing.
I'm out here vibing, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like he's casting any magic. You don't notice him doing anything. You're an accomplished spellcaster, more so than most commoners. So it's just kind of like, all right, this guy, there's something about him. You know, he's gonna kind of get that feeling as you're watching this happen.
I'm gonna write in my notes. Teddy is vibing.
I'm vibing, dude.
Teddy's vibing.
When he sits down, can I join him across the table?
You can do whatever you want.
It's D&D, baby.
Damn.
There's like picnic style, like picnic bench style tables where there's like the big long tables and then the benches you can sit on. So you find one to sit down at, Rokuzin, and you got your pie in front of you and you start to eat it. And then this individual in this dark clothing with this hood kind of like sits down across from you.
Impressive display.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
What brings you to town today?
I grew up around here. I used to come to this festival when I was young, so I figured I'd stop on by and play a couple games, have some fun, you know. Yeah.
So you're not staying for the night?
I don't know. I think I might blow out of here pretty soon.
Oh, that's too bad. I was hoping to find a last minute room, but looks like most of the places are booked up.
Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, they say bummer in Dungeons & Dragons. That's sad, man. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I thought there were definitely still rooms around here.
Oh well, I guess I'll have to, find another option here.
I mean, if you would like, good sir, you can accompany me to the next town, and we can travel together and try and find lodging there, if you would like. I mean,
I don't know.
That's fine. You do
seem strong. It might be good to
like
have you around.
Moment, boys. Trying to be a friend here, and Morthos isn't about it. That's fine.
It might be good to have some muscle around.
Yeah,
I'm not much of a fighter myself.
You never know what you could run into on the roads.
That's true. All right.
Okay.
But you got to buy me a drink first.
You know what? I'm okay with that. Let's do it. We can head off on the road. Well, I need to drink too. I have my dinner here. I don't actually have a drink. Like I don't have a water. I don't have a pint. I got nothing. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab some drinks.
So Cookie, you've waited in line. You and Bear are there, anxiously awaiting to see what it is that's baked into these pies. That has this like really vibrant, rich purple color. That's just something that you've not encountered like heretofore. What would you say is the most like for your guild? What is your like piece de resistance? What is the thing that you are all famous for? What kind of cookie is it that you make, or what pastry?
Chocolate fudge sandwich cookie.
Okay,
that is like one of a kind. No one can recreate it.
Gotcha.
That's the number one bestseller.
Is there a secret recipe?
Absolutely.
All right, bakers play it close to the chest. You can't have someone taking your recipe. Then they, that's your whole livelihood.
Sure.
So you get to the front with your discerning palate. I would say that you and Bear, since you're close to the source now and you're looking at this very specific thing, you can now both make a perception check with advantage since you're an accomplished cook and because you have a discerning palate, Bear.
18.
Is this considered smell-based?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Something I didn't think I would
10?
do today. Is this considered smell-based?
Bear, it smells good. It smells so good. You know that this is exactly what you all were here looking for. It smells different than everything else around. You can't really tell what it smells like, but it smells good, and you really want one. Cookie, as you're sniffing it, there's either like a berry mixture here that you haven't thought to put together before, or maybe there's some sort of like food that you don't know how you might have missed a type of fruit, but there's something different about it. You know, you can smell cinnamon in it, and you can smell like a little bit of like the like clove-esque type, like pumpkin pie type of seasonings. Not pumpkin, but the like spicy, sweet sort of like bits to it. But this fruit is just really distinct. The person behind the stall is this tall, very like finely featured elven man. He's got long brown hair that is braided back very, very delicately. It's like intricate braids on his head. They're very well done. And even in the warmth of the day and with a bit of like the wind and obviously with the hustle and bustle of like the baking and the running of the stall, he's perfectly coiffed. Everything looks like it's in a very specific place and he has a very tailored appearance. Tailored is the like word of the day for him. He's got very finely tailored clothing in like natural sort of like browns and then some blue like accents to it. He's got like a pleasant face, and sometimes you run into other elves who have a tendency to be a bit haughty, but he doesn't seem that way. He's definitely like got this like reserved air to him, but he's a very pleasant expression on his face as you approach. And he says, "And how many would you like?"
2.
Very well. He has like it's like little pieces of paper, but they're very thin, like not parchment paper, like the little baking papers that you would use. I mean, he does actually kind of like he picks up the 2, and with that, so he's not touching them directly, and he kind of folds the paper over it, hands it over to you. It says that will be 2 copper.
Okay.
So you hand him over your, whatever it was that you had to hand him. He gives you any change necessary and just kind of like folds his hand, waiting for you to either leave or order more or do whatever it is that you're going to do.
Here you go, Bear. Have yours before you rip my arm off. While I speak to this nice gentleman real quick.
the really calm
awesome.
and like placid demeanor when the bear makes a noise and you go, before he ripped my arms off, he's like,
Okay.
You gotta keep it fed, okay?
I
I've
imagine
learned.
so.
So what exactly is this stuff? The aroma is just incredible, and I had to come try it. Like, what? Can you tell me more about it?
Oh, it is a specialty from where I'm from. And as he's talking, you're kind of looking, and like you're an elf yourself, and he looks very elven, but his ears are just a little bit like longer, and his features are just really, really fine and delicate. There's almost this sort of like radiance to his skin that has like, you know that elves live for a long time, so like youthful glow isn't really like a thing that happens for them because it happens to you for like 700 years,
Right.
but there's just something about him. He says it's just a secret recipe from the homeland, you might say.
Where's the homeland?
Near and far. It depends on where you are.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I will go try this out.
If you would like to try to like coax it out of him, you could make a persuasion check.
Okay.
Okay.
I will do that instead. Persuasion.
Wow.
19.
Oh, jeez.
I am Cookie Cabler from the Cabler Guild. I don't know, you've probably heard of us, but we are looking for some new and exotic things, and just the aroma alone and the popularity of this has really gotten our attention. So I would really, if you could tell me anything more about this that I could take back to HQ, that would be amazing.
That's an interesting point. I have heard of you. We've only been coming to this particular festival for a few years because the people here seem to really enjoy these particular pastries. Are you from this plane?
Yes, I am.
Are you familiar with the Feywilds? As a general elf, you probably would be like vaguely familiar that there are these mirror planes that in some way resemble the material plane, which is where you're at right now. And there's kind of like a dark version that's called the Shadowfell. And there's kind of this like weird, vibrant, crazy land that I shouldn't say that. Crazy land is a bad way of describing it. Like, it's bizarre. It's like it vaguely mimics the material plane, but the time passes in different ways, and the things that should be in one location are just somehow the next time you go in a different location. It's called the Feywild. And elves are fey creatures. They descend from fey.
So yes.
Yeah. It occurs to you as you're looking at him and he's saying these things like, okay, fine features, kind of glowy. The ears. This one's from the Feywild. So okay. Now I'm getting like what I get where he's coming from now. It says, I couldn't just give this out, but perhaps we can come to an arrangement at some time. Are you an emissary for your guild? Do you have the capability of offering contracts and recompense in exchange for recipes?
What I do is I just am like, I discover the stuff that could be good for the guild, and I just like take the information back, and if then the higher up guys feel like it's good, then they will initiate that. So I'm kind of like that introduction. The introduction.
There's a golden fruit that only grows in the Feywild.
Ooh. Okay, tell me more.
This is that fruit.
All right. Well, hopefully it tastes good.
You get the idea, being like a business person, that they might be willing to sell you a recipe, but if you're already bakers, you probably don't need the recipe, but you need the ingredient that you might only be able to get through them. So there's a potential for you to at least go home and say, hey, special fruit, know the elves you can talk to. So it's giving you something to go off of when you go home.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. Thank you. Give me your card. Like, we'll exchange emails.
If you so choose to make an accord, you can come back to this town. We will find you.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
He just kind of nods as you leave. Fergus, what game are you going to? What's your carnival game?
Okay, so I think he has a feeling that just all carnivals are a little bit rigged, so he's trying to find the game that's the least rigged, the one that he'll have the best chance with.
Okay. Do you think he would be more into something skill-based, like an archery contest, or like Five-Finger Fillet, or like a card game, or
I mean he's very strong. He's equally strong in as he is dexterous.
Dexterous. That's a rough one.
Yeah, so either one would be good. He just wants to make sure that's not like set up in a way that's gonna cheat him, like if there was some sort of mechanism, like the bottles are glued down or anything like that.
Gotcha. So you're gonna look around and see if you can scope out which looks the most on the up and up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and just make an investigation check or perception, either one.
Well, my investigation's 0. Then we'll just go. Perception is 1, so that's a bigger number, and he rolled a 9.
Okay. So you're taking a look around, and you pass by a little archery range, and it seems to be on the up and up. They don't seem to have targets that are like at different distances, or the bows all seem pretty sound. They do ask that you use theirs, but as you're watching people shoot, it doesn't seem like this recurve reacts any differently than your longbow. There is the sort of like skee ball-esque type area and the like pitch the ball into the stacks of bottles. You don't see any glued down bottles. You don't see like any like bumps in the skee ball that's going to throw anything off of track. You do find the sort of like hammer swing, axe throwing, like five finger fillet-esque type, a little bit more like hardcore area. It's kind of hard to cheat those games. It's a little bit difficult to tell what exactly it is even going on with this hammer game. It looks impressive. Nothing about it looks rigged, but then again, the whole thing is a set of like system, like it's a system of pulleys, so it's kind of hard to tell what might be messed with that. So maybe not that one, because it's a little hard to understand how that one even works. But in general, as you're taking a look around, everything kind of looks on the up and up. Most of the prizes don't seem to be overwhelmingly like expensive or valuable. It seems to be more with the intent of like having a good time. There's pies, there's like ales, there's little stuffed toys, there's a couple of places have like stuffed icons of the like person holding a shield and a sword, and it has like longish looking hair, so you think it's supposed to be a female, but maybe not. Then there are like carved statues of that. It's not like anyone's giving away like magic rings or anything like that, so it doesn't seem like there's much incentive for them to really like cheat these.
He definitely, I think, wants to win a stuffed toy, so wherever that would be available.
Nice.
Okay, stuffed toys are available both at the axe throwing, at the darts, and at one of the there's like a card table where you can play like essentially what is like blackjack.
I think I'll go axe throwing.
Okay. So you go over to the axe throwing area. There are several people here. There's instructors. They've all got the targets like far enough away from each other that there's a person showing people who don't know what they're doing how to do it properly. And it seems like it's set up very safely, which is one of the things you noticed about that probably caught your eye. They have an assortment of stuffed animals. There are some little like stuffed dogs. There are some little like stuffed like these creatures that are really large, and they have these long snout noses, and they're really interesting looking. And then there's the like warrior woman-esque type thing that you keep seeing around everywhere. So most of the games are free. It seems like, again, they're set up for the festival and they're not intended to be like a source of revenue or anything like that. It's part of the celebration. So you're able to walk up and you wait your turn, and you get two chances to throw an axe. And depending upon where it lands, you get either a pie, a pint, or one of the stuffed toys. And the stuffed toy is the big prize, of course. Yeah. So go ahead and just make like an attack roll. Okay, 7 on the first one. So you lean back, or you like, you position yourself, you throw this axe. This is different than the axe you're used to throwing, of course. You have like a weapon hand axe. This is like a small kind of like hatchet thing. So your first throw, there's like that orientation where you have the muscle memory of what you're used to hurling when you chunk an axe at something. And this one's lighter and weighted differently. So it kind of throws you off. It skims the outside of one of the targets, and it doesn't like completely whiff it or anything, but it's on like the outside and kind of clatters to the ground. It doesn't really like sink in properly, and you're like, oof, okay, different type of axe. Gotta reorient myself and try this again. So go ahead and make a second throw. 10. There you go. So the second one, you're used to the weight, you're used to the balance. It feels a little bit more like you're ready for what you're throwing this time, and you're able to throw it, and you hit the second ring, not the bullseye, but the second one. So for this try, you were able to get a meat pie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think he takes the meat pie a little defeated, because he definitely was going for that stuffed toy, and I think he.
Do you obviously look sad when they're starting to hand it to you?
Yeah, he just kind of like is locked eyes with the stuffed toy, and just kind of like takes it, like he's got his hand out by like looking at what he actually wants. He just kind of takes it.
So there's this little gnomish man. I shouldn't say little, but he's very short. He's a gnome. And he's kind of like, he's standing on like a stool next to these things and kind of like making a show of tossing out the pies and the like stuffed toys at people. And he's just taken one of the stuffed toys off and tossed it at someone else who was able to hit the bullseye. And he reaches for the pie and he goes to like toss it to you jokingly. And he sees you staring at the other one. And he looks at you and he goes, "You fancy an elephant?"
I'm more of a warrior lady myself.
You're a lady?
You're a warrior lady?
Oh, you mean the
Yeah.
You want the... Oh, okay.
the secret to throwing axes is to not think about it. Just do it. Just look where it's supposed to go and make it go there. Does it make sense?
I think so.
Why don't you give it another shot?
14.
Oh!
A little bit better.
Yeah, so you go over and you're kind of thinking about what he said, and you're like, all right, don't overthink it. You know, I've done this before, and I've hit people and killed them, but I guess you can kill someone by hitting them in the kidney just as much as you can hit them and kill them by hitting them in the arm, so whatever. And you throw it. And it's like, it's not one of those, like, perfect, you could, like, thread a second axe through it, like, break your arrow type of, like, bullseyes, but it is in the center. And he's like, I knew you could do it. You just can't think. And he grabs one of the ones off. There are blue and green of these toys. And he kind of like reaches over for the blue one and looks at you, and then for the green one and looks at you and sees which one piques your interest more.
I think he'd be eyeing the blue.
He grabs one of the blue ones and he's like, "What? Catch!" Make a dex save.
11.
You catch it. It's not fancy, but you catch it.
I think so a little side secret for you. Fergus has kind of been keeping his eye out for a kid who's wanted one of these and tries to like slip it to them, maybe without their parents looking.
Oh, okay.
Aww.
So you take a look around. He tosses that one to you, and he kind of like waves in the same gesture. He's grabbing like a pie and throwing it at someone, and then he picks up a pint and pretends to throw it at someone, and then is like, just kidding, and hands it to him. And as you like turn away, you see there's a kid over at the little like skee ball-esque type thing, and he's just not getting it. You look over and you kind of see like there's someone throwing darts and they're doing pretty well, and there's a couple of like there's like kids sitting around listening to stories and things that are more oriented for children that aren't like games that require skill. But there's this one kid. He looks like he's human. He's probably about like 7 years old. And you look over just as he throws one, and he's got all this excitement on his face, and it pops up and it hits the outside, and there's no prize for the outside. It goes into the outside ring, and the person grabs it and looks at it and goes, "All right, one more try, kid." And it looks like not that they're losing patience, but that this has probably been going on for a long time. Like even base level insight of like a 0 with your 10 passive, it's pretty easy to see the sort of person who's like pandering to a kid, trying to get them to feel better about not doing well. He throws it again, same thing. It like pops up way over on the top. It misses all the inner rings, and it slides down into the outside one. And so you watch this, and there's like, they keep going with him for a little while, but there's like, they're not really like giving him any pointers. They're not helping him do better. They're just giving him new chances, and he just can't do it. And he's getting increasingly frustrated.
I think Fergus walks up to him. I think is this kid eyeing a stuffed toy as well?
Yeah, this is one of the tables because it's kind of more geared towards children. There's no drinks there. There's little big pastries, and there's like little mini stuffed toys, and there's only the dogs and the warriors here.
Oh, yeah.
But they're smaller than yours.
Fergus walks up to the kid and is like, "Hey kid, I got this extra toy. You want it? I got nowhere to put it."
He like looks up at first. "You don't want it?"
I got nowhere to put it. Just do you want it or?
You sound so sad about giving this away.
Yeah, I've been trying for a long time, but I can't do it.
Hey, no one's good at throwing balls. No one ever does it. Like, why did they even make this game? I don't even like.
Right? It's silly.
I mean, I tried to throw an axe. Like, this whole thing, I'm pretty sure the carnival's rigged. I got the toy. You want it?
I'll teach you a life lesson here, kid.
Yes, please.
And then I hand the...
And he takes it and he looks at it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Fergus Bog, future Prince of Farway.
I wanted to wait until you were done with all of that, but like, why did you turn into like a Brooklyn thug?
I don't
It's
know.
been going that way slowly
100%
this whole
like,
time.
hey, kid, let's get out of here.
I have a charisma of 10. I'm not very good at talking to anybody.
That's fair.
This is me
fair.
like trying to be like, oh, I have to like, I was just gonna kind of slip it to a kid, but no, I had to engage him in conversation. Okay.
You're like, fuck.
Heck.
I could slip it to him fine if I have to talk to him as I do it. I wasn't prepared for that.
Okay.
Because I
right.
was hoping it'd be a situation where a kid was going like, "Hey, mom, I want that," and they're like, "You've got enough toys at
And
home
you just
or
like
something."
quickly.
Yeah,
and then
I
run.
was thinking it'd be something like that, but no, I had to conversate him into this toy, and I wasn't.
Sonya, you didn't slip it in.
It's fine. You're right. You have a
Yeah,
charisma
it didn't seem to
of
be able
10.
to find that. Most of the parents here are happy to let the kids like play the games, try as often as they want because they're not
different
having to
time.
pay anything for it.
Yeah.
Or you presume it's likely because they're not having to pay anything for it.
Yeah.
It's all kind of like free reign.
Oh, yeah. But the kid got the toy, and then after that kind of embarrassing engagement, Fergus just kind of slinks away, maybe towards the food court.
Yeah, well, this area is actually like directly adjacent to that. So, Morthos, it's behind your back, but Rokuzin, you, as you're sitting there, you've come back with your. What were you going to order each of you?
We were
like a pint?
getting drinks.
Okay.
I'm
Like
just
just
getting
an
myself a water, just
A
because
water?
I'm I'm a paladin out here. I'm not trying to. I got to keep my senses sharp, you know.
fair. That
You never
divine
know what
sense.
could happen. But I got Morthos, whatever he wanted. What Morthos? We'll just this is
A fermented beverage.
Yeah, a fermented beverage. We got
Fine.
him. We got him big pint of that guy.
Yeah, it was like the house ale. It's good, smells good, it's nice and frothy. It's like
Yeah,
cold.
yeah.
They have a way to keep it cold, so it's like nice and refreshing on a summer day like this. Nothing fancy, but like it's nice. It's good. It's not very hopsy. It's like a light wheat ale, kind of like Blue Moon-esque. It's like really refreshing. Yeah. So you get yourself water. You've got this like citrusy smelling like pint that you set down in front of Morthos, and as you're sitting down, you see this half orc off in the distance, kind of like awkwardly talking to this small child and handing the small child a toy. And he's kind of got like a furrowed brow, and like there's obviously some like not like anger, but just kind of like like look
The
on his
embarrassed
face.
look.
Exactly. And he kind of like starts like meandering off towards your general direction with this kind of like that feeling and the look that you have when you walk away from an awkward situation where you're like,
Is he like walking by us? Like, can we like catch his eye and be like, "Friend, are you okay? Like, what's wrong?" Fergus.
I need a drink.
I just came back with a couple of drinks, but I can grab you one as well. Come join. We're drinking right now.
I think yeah, for after that engagement, Fergus is like, yeah, I'm gonna sit down and just kind of stare into a drink for a second. So Fergus kind of reluctantly takes the offer and
I get up as he's like, sitting down, kind of doing one of these guys, and I just look at him, give him a quick pat on the shoulder, and walk away to get his drink. And then and then fast forward, come back. Here you go. Yeah.
So what happened to you?
Kids.
What do you mean by that?
They're just. Why can't they throw the ball? I try. The axes. This whole thing's rigged. Back in Far Away, they wouldn't have this. When I'm king, we're gonna have. It's all gonna work fine.
When you're king?
No. Yeah. When there's better kings in Far Away.
No.
What are
I
you
think
guys
you just
up
said
to?
when you're king.
I don't know.
Oh,
It seems
sorry.
like a
What
lot
do
of the
you mean
games
by
are
that?
tailored for children and families. That's, there's just kids walking up and playing them. I don't know. Doesn't seem that hard.
And it's been a long day. I've been traveling from afar. I'm used to things elsewhere. Then they're better there. Just, how are you today?
A bit tired.
Yeah. I haven't even introduced myself. My name is Rokuzin. I'm a paladin. What's your name? What's your name, sir?
Fergus. Fergus? You can call me Fergus.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Fergus. Nice to meet you.
And your friend?
I don't think I caught his name as well yet either.
You didn't.
No. What would that be, sir?
Don't worry about it. It's not important.
Okay.
That's not I think that answer is enough for Fergus to go like, and can I roll an insight check on him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, since we've already divulged your background, you are obviously trying to be clandestine. You can go ahead and make a deception check. But it's not 14. That you're necessarily like outright lying. It's that you're hoping by like the force of your answer just like makes him choose not to like delve further into it or anything.
Ooh.
I rolled a 16.
Mm-hmm. So, he says, it's not important. And you're like, I don't agree with that. And he kind of like looks over at you and he's just got this like, this really, for tiefling, because sometimes the horns and everything can be a little bit like fearsome for some people, but you're half orc. Like you look over and he's just got like a pleasant expression on his face and he just seems like such an amenable fellow. Like, you know what are names? Names are just sounds that I make to get your attention, right? Like, who needs a name? That's fine.
Okay.
He just kind of like grunts and just kind of focuses on his drink, still kind of defeated from the engagement, both with the axe man and with the small child.
I love it. Yeah. So the day goes on. You have the opportunity to play other games if you so choose. Does anyone else want to stop by the fountain? Not saying that you have to, but like going to kind of like monologue through the rest of the day's events. So
I want to ask Rokuzin if he's a superstitious guy, because I've noticed the kind of aura.
I'm not superstitious, but I would say I'm a little stitious.
Oh my God.
That was the answer I was hoping.
In all reality, though, that is actually kind of, it's like I'm not superstitious. Like I'm not crazy about a lot of that stuff, but like there's a little bit of respect for it, for sure. Absolutely.
And then I say, well, I have a feeling today is going to be a lucky day for you.
Oh, why do you say that? You just have a feeling?
That's all I have to say about that.
Okay. Man, a few words. I respect it.
Fergus looks him in the eye and says, "You're fucking weird, dude." And that's it.
What do you say? What do you say back, Morth?
I'm not the giant green guy handing kids toys.
He does have a point.
That why are you bringing my race into this?
Oh shit! You're right. There's a little racist.
I'm
random
not pointing
unnamed
out
guy.
that you're a tiefling. You're
At
just
that
a
point,
weird
yeah.
dude.
I pull my hood back and I just kind of snarl at him because my horns and my teeth.
Oh, can we do an intimidation off? Because
not intimidation so much as just like, hey man, it's not being racist. Look at me. I've got it rough too.
I feel like at that point you guys both have this little exchange, and then there's kind of a little stare off, and then some respect, you know.
Then you do the chin thing.
What color tiefling are you, by the way?
I'm deepish purple, like in the blue purple, but tending towards black.
Fergus just kind of grunts and goes, "Huh."
All right. Well, that's you two are very interesting drinking companions. That's for sure.
Like I said, it's a lucky day for you.
They got dessert at this carnival, or are we eating more?
I don't know if there are any sweets. I could go take a look around. I could use a dessert. I haven't had one in a while. Like, I haven't had a good cookie in a while, you know? That's what I really feel like I need. Maybe a good chocolate fudge cookie or something.
Cookie?
And then she runs.
It's like someone's calling my name.
Someone wants a cookie somewhere.
What was that sound?
You turn around and you see a slightly short elf. The wooden elves, which she's easily recognizable as, aren't necessarily as tall as like high elves, but she's particularly short even for a wood elf. Followed by a bear.
Sir, I heard you said that you were looking for a chocolate fudge cookie. Well, I can help you with that.
Oh, can you? I would love.
I always
a good
have some
chocolate.
on me. I am a Kabler elf, as you can see.
Oh wow, yeah, I've heard tales of the Kabler dynasty of their chocolate fudge cookies. I've always wanted to try one, but I've never gotten the chance. This is amazing.
Well, it is your lucky day. Here you go. Have some
thank you.
Kabler cookies. Don't mind Bear.
And then I just make a little face of like, oh, this is that bear.
You just keep Bear fed,
okay,
and Bear will be
then-
happy.
Oh, okay, cool.
So don't mind her.
Okay, all right. Let me just take this. Do you happen to have two others for my companions here as well?
Oh, absolutely. There's more than
Awesome.
enough to share.
What was your name? I don't know if I
I
caught
am Cookie Kebler.
Oh wow, that's really
I know.
convenient.
When you said Cookie, I was like, he's calling my name.
Oh wow, look at that. This is my friend Ferguson here, I believe.
Ferguson. Nice to meet you,
is
Ferguson. I'm Cookie.
Fergus.
Bog. Okay. Added a little O-N at the end. It's just Fergus. There we
Remember
go.
Very nice to meet you.
the name? It's a noble. It's Fergus.
Okay. So this is Fergus, and this is our other creepy friend who doesn't want to tell us his name.
Creepy friend. Nice to meet you, creepy friend.
The bear can have my cookie.
Oh, that's
Here you
nice
go,
of
Bear.
you, creepy friend. Thank you.
Happy bear sounds.
Come on, Beckers. Come on. Give it to us. Give us those authentic Beckers noises.
No, that was it. just asterisks. Happy bear noises.
Might we join you? We are looking for a place to sit. We got these amazing exotic desserts from a stand over there,
Yeah, absolutely.
and we need a place to sit.
Yeah, for
Great,
sure.
thanks.
Absolutely. Sit down. We're trying to talk here. Our creepy friend doesn't want to tell us much about it himself, but
okay.
Fergus, where do you come from?
For clarification, I think I'm sitting next to Roku.
I thought you were sitting next to.
I thought
next to
Rokuzin's across from us, and yeah, Fergus and Morthos are sitting next to each other.
Okay, I figured you guys were sitting across from each other,
Right.
And then I
We
would
were,
sit
yeah.
next to the paladin
That's fine.
because then I'm looking across the
Okay. Yeah.
from
for
each
the
other.
intimidation thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. For
So-
this weird stare off.
yeah.
See, I thought we were sitting next to each other and just kind of like.
That would be
Yeah.
that would be
I
very
honestly
intimate.
thought so too. I thought you were literally like.
No, I had pictured
Forehead
us
to
across the
forehead.
table. So that's where my sitting arrangements are.
Okay.
Where's Cookie placing herself?
Probably next to creepy friend.
Sure.
like there's more
I'll
of a
sit next
spot
to
there.
creepy friend.
Okay.
He looks awfully lonely on that side of the table.
Yeah.
Thank you,
yeah.
Cookie. I don't know why. Rokuzin keeps calling me creepy.
Hey man, you haven't given us a name. You're acting a little aloof. So like,
so far,
I
I've
gotta give
been
one
nothing
to
but
you for
pleasant
you.
to you. I, gave the bear my cookie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you gave me the cookie, I'm picturing like in Sims with the little friendship thing with the 2+ signs.
yeah, we'll just go with cloaked friend. Is that okay? Is that more that fits
Mystery
your
friend.
Sure. The cloaked one. That has a nice sound to it.
cloaked one?
Cloaked
okay.
one? Okay.
I like it.
I will sit next to the cloaked
So yeah,
one.
Fergus, where do you come from? What brings you here today?
I'm from the swamplands, far far away. I'm just traveling through. I need some food, some rest. I'm just here for the day while I make my way elsewhere.
Nice. Well, you came across a nice little a nice festival here to not just give you some food, but also some entertainment. Absolutely.
Are you gonna do a card trick? Are you the entertainment?
No, but there's games, there's this stuff
There's
like
gonna
that
be some
all around
stuff
here.
going on.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
I when you brought up entertainment, I thought you were the.
No, I'm not the entertainment.
Oh, is it this guy? Is that why he's got the? Is he like a magician? Are you gonna do some card? Is it someone's gonna do card tricks, right? I'm
not a magician. Yes, I am a magic user. Yes, I understand the arcane. I am not a magician.
What can you make some like sparkles? I always wanted to see a mage who could do some sparkles, but they're always like, oh, I can talk to animals and like I can make vines grow. I've never seen a sparkle one. Do you do it?
Will you shut up if I do?
Yes. I mean,
all right.
No, probably not, but please.
I'm gonna cast prestidigitation. And I'm gonna make some sparkles with a kind of shiny residue after the fact, as slowly dissipates.
Yeah, like a little firework. Nice. What color is it?
Bear is alarmed.
Golden. Golden sparkles.
Bear is alarmed.
It's like, Bear, don't worry. It's okay. Did you eat your exotic dessert, Bear?
How is that? Is that good?
I ate it already.
Okay.
I already forgot it.
Well, here, have another cookie, Bear.
Okay.
Did you try yours as well, Cookie? The dessert
Not yet.
Okay.
I haven't yet.
Bear, when you ate the pastry, depending upon how quickly you might have eaten it or whether you savored it or not, you also, as you smelled, when you first smelled it, you weren't sure exactly what it was. It smelled good. You picked up on the cinnamon and the kind of fall seasoning sort of scent, or excuse me, the scent that you had couldn't place earlier. But then the fruit itself is it's still warm. Now it's summer, and those were sitting they're outside in the sun. But this is it's almost like it still tastes fresh baked, like they just put it out of the oven and it's cooled just enough to be edible without it hurting you. It's pleasantly warm. And there's this combination of plum and blackberry and a few other fruits that seem to be kind of mixed up together that has this really sort of mellow but spicy combination. It is unlike anything you have ever had. Anything. And when you eat it, that's what it'll taste like to you, Cookie.
Wow.
Cookie eats it, and she absolutely loves it. She's so ecstatic and excited to report her findings to HQ when she goes back to the forest. It's you guys, if you haven't tried this, you got to try some. It's amazing. It's at the stall over there with the long line.
So I'd say your trip was a success.
Yeah, I think
Time to
Fergus,
go home.
We got to stay for the entertainment. We've done our job now. We can have fun now.
It's just you just gotta find one recipe and then you're gonna go home.
I mean, this one's out of this world, so I mean, why look anymore?
It literally is out of this world.
Well, you don't know that, but or Fergus doesn't know that.
I think Fergus was just when he does the sparkles, but then he saw the enjoyment on Cookie's face as she ate the baked good, catches his eye, and he kind of notices the I assume they're you're dressed in a way that would indicate that you're a Kebler elf.
Yep.
So he kind of goes I know of your people. Your guild is known throughout the lands, and you have a very noble reputation.
Thank you.
I respect your people very much.
Well, thank you very much, Fergus. That's very nice of you to say so.
Look at that, making friends already.
What's with the bear?
Oh, that's Bear. She's my friend. She just kind of follows me and I feed her things. And she protects me when I need it.
Can you understand Bear?
A little bit here and there. Yeah, I can talk to animals.
Oh, wow. That's
I
really...
have to cast a spell, though.
Can you
But we have a general understanding. We've been hanging out together for a while.
you do the spells
gross.
too? You spells?
Well, yeah, I'm an elf. I have a little bit of magic.
Can you do sparkles?
Have you noticed
No.
anything weird going on today? I call you Elf.
You call me elf.
If that's
Why
not
do you-
clear enough.
Why are you so obsessed with everybody's race?
Why are you so obsessed with everybody's name? Orc.
Got a good point.
I mean, there definitely has been like a vibe in the air. I don't know. Maybe I just
I'm
figured
fine.
it was just the festival, you know, people are happy and having a good time and there's good food around and it's just, you know, festive time. That's all I've really noticed. Have you noticed something?
When I saw this armored man earlier today,
Ooh.
he was throwing a coin into a well, and there was a weird residual effect from when he first did that. And it just... his armor shined as if it were gold. So I kind of followed him around a little bit, see what he was up to. And then he...
You followed me? Like, how long were you
Don't worry
following
about
me?
it. Don't worry about it.
I might have to take back my invitation of companionship
Once
here.
again,
This is a
what
little...
have I done that hasn't been friendly to you?
You followed me. That's
Can I persuade Rokuzin? Okay.
Yeah. You're like, listen, I'm not trying to do anything nefarious here.
Yeah.
You know, like trying to smooth things over. Sure.
Oh no, I rolled a 7.
Okay.
And like persuasion checks and things like that, they're not like charm person, right?
Mhm.
But they give people impressions. So if you're trying to smooth things over with him, why don't you go ahead, Rokuzin, and make an insight check?
7.
Wow.
Checks out.
So, you know, he says he's following you, and he's saying, like, well, I wasn't doing anything bad. You just, like, something weird happened, and I was following you. Like, I'm just keeping an eye on it, right? And you're like, I guess that could make sense. Like, you don't have to feel any specific way, but what he's saying makes sense.
All right. Like,
You know, now that you mention it, when I first got here, I do kind of remember seeing something caught my eye at the fountain as well. So now that you say that, it's getting me thinking a little bit more that maybe something's going on.
should we go back and check out that fountain? Was something
Didn't you
wrong
say you were
there?
from here earlier?
Not right here, but like around the area. I've been to the festival
Has
before.
anything significant ever happened at the festival?
Nothing crazy. I mean, you know, in big crowds like this, there's definitely reports of pickpocketing, and like there's every now and then some crime at the festivals for sure. But like, there's nothing ever that's been hugely of note or anything. Yeah.
Fergus,
know.
did you notice anything?
This was at the Halfling Temple.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I know of the temple. I guess I didn't know anything like halflings. Are they really reliable? I don't.
Who's the racist one now?
Oh yeah, no.
Wow.
Yeah. Fergus,
Thank you.
Fergus doesn't like halflings. That's just,
Thank
that's
you,
just,
Rokuzin.
Oh, now you're just throwing the blame. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's.
This isn't a team. This is a time bomb.
Dude, if you guys want to check it out, I'll come. But I mean, it's halfling magic. What are you gonna do?
Get a load of this
I
guy,
think
Elf.
I'm gonna go back and check out the fountain. I want to see if anything's noticeable.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
I'll check it out with you.
Okay.
I'm just gonna start walking towards it because I'm thirsty.
Makes sense.
Bear's like water. Okay.
Looks like Bear wants to go too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're all able to you easily get up, make your way over to where it was. It's like there's a big temple there. It's pretty easy to spot amongst the like other normal buildings. You take a look at it. It looks like the stone looks like it's from this area. There's nothing particularly of note about it. It's not like fine marble or anything. It just seems to be like naturally occurring stone, maybe like limestone. It's kind of like light in color, like whitish. You can tell that it's been here a long time. When you look kind of like in the inside down at the water, there's like, it's well tended to. So it's not like, ooh, it's not covered in moss or anything. But when something has had water in it, like when rocks have had water in them for a long time, there's that like obvious sort of like staining that occurs just from it being there. And there's like money in there, so there's minerals and stuff in it. So there's like evidence that this has been here and that's been here for a long time. Other than that, nothing particularly of note.
Orc King, give me some coins.
No.
I'm just gonna throw them in to the fountain.
I'm just gonna stick my face in it and drink it.
Okay.
So
Cookie's not alarmed by that. Bear just does things.
Bear just does what Bear wants.
When Bear's thirsty, she drinks.
Well, I feel like Bear is gonna do that, and then we'll probably see the effects from Bear's face being in the
I was
water.
like, my highest stat's Constitution.
It's fine.
I'll find out what happened.
Go ahead and roll me a 1d100. 30.
A 30.
So you go to drink from this, and like, this water is sweeter than what you're used to drinking. It's got like, it's almost like thick, not like viscous, like, not viscous like it has substance to it, but when you travel through cities a lot with your friend, and when you were out by yourself in your self-imposed hermitage, there's like really clean tasting fresh water that you had access to that isn't as easy to access in the city. There's always that sort of like that like humanoid taint to it, of it having like pollutants, or it being like standing water, or just not as fresh, not as like delicious or whatever. And that almost seems like it's thinned down sometimes, like just because of all the other junk that ends up in there. And this is just like, it reminds you of like your favorite pool that you had nearby, wherever it was that you had like, you had lived through your self-imposed hermitage. There's this reminiscence to it. And as you're drinking, you when you looked in before, you saw that it had nothing but coins in there. And now that your like head is in it and you're like lapping up this water, you look in and there's like a piece of paper in the bottom.
Oh my god.
Okay. I'm gonna come up for air, and then I'm gonna go in and grab the paper.
Okay. Come up, breathe, go back in, grab
We're all
the
just
paper.
watching Bear like,
Yeah.
jeez.
And
He's
you
really
all
going
just,
for it.
I mean, it is a sight to see.
Yeah. You all just like looked in there, and then when Bear like went to take a drink, you all like looked over at Bear. And
The whole
their
town's
head-
watching us.
Right. Their head comes up, it goes back down, and it comes back up with like a rolled up piece of paper in their mouth. Like,
Whoa, Bear, where did you find that? That was in the fountain?
I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna poke it a little bit, and then I can't eat it, so I'm gonna ignore it after that.
yeah, you smell it, and
It's fair. That's
it
yeah.
smells like that stuff that Cookie's always using to like, it's what happens before baking. This stuff is what makes baking happen.
The wax paper stuff.
And you're like, I don't know what she does with this, but there's something
Here.
that she does, and then cookies later happen. So this is
Okay.
probably for you.
So I throw it at Cookie.
Yeah. So you like not like hand it over either in your mouth or like nose it over to her or something.
Cookie grabs it. She opens it.
So
What does it say?
you open it up and you look at it. There's no words on here. There's like a big glyph. There are several sigils that you recognize immediately to be arcane, being that you are an arcane caster in nature. Go ahead and make an arcana check. This isn't a spell that you already know. It's one you could know. So we'll see if
Okay.
it's one that you happen to be familiar enough with that you can recognize what this does.
14.
So there's this spell. It's a long way off for you. This
'Kay.
is pretty powerful from your standpoint. You're pretty sure that this could create or destroy water. It's a spell
Wow.
that's a little bit ways off for you. It takes a little bit more power than you would currently have access to. With a scroll, though, you can cast the spell once, it'll go away, but that's cool and also weird because you swear you didn't see paper in there before.
Wow.
Isn't this weird, guys? I swear I didn't see
weird.
paper in here before.
I wonder where that came from.
This thing creates or destroy water. Isn't that nuts?
That is pretty cool.
It's amazeballs.
That's pretty crazy.
What'd you say?
I said that's amazeballs.
I really want it to be canon that like the only words that Bear ever actually speaks is amazeballs. Yeah, and we're like amazeballs.
It's like Bear doesn't speak often, so that's
Wow,
this is a big deal.
It must be amazeballs. Wow,
It must be amazing.
man, that's really cool though. I hope that'll be useful in the future. Store that away. For sure.
Why would a scroll for creating water or destroying water be in a pool of water? It's already there.
Yeah, it seems a little redundant.
I have no idea.
Are we supposed to? Did they try and destroy the water? This is supposed
Maybe
to be
they're telling us to destroy that water
Who?
in the fountain. I don't know. Whoever put the scroll there. Maybe they're saying to destroy the water in the fountain. But at that point,
Out
can't we
of
just...
frustration, I grab the scroll and I just use it. And I just destroy the water in the well. Just listening to them talking back and forth.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
I just
It was
ripped
good
it.
water.
Poor Cookie. That was Cookie's scroll.
So you're holding it, and your unnamed friend reaches over and tries to grab it from
Grab
you.
it.
Do you allow that to happen?
I think Cookie would let go of it.
Okay, so you're sitting
Yeah.
there holding it, and this person reaches over and just kind of like, obviously intending to take it, and you're like taken aback, and you just kind of stand there. And so Morthos, she looks at you confusedly and allows you to take the scroll. And so you open it up and you try to cast to destroy water.
Yeah.
Okay. It's actually only a first level spell, but you can't read it. It doesn't make any sense to you. You look at it and you can see the arcane sigils, you can see the glyph, like you recognize it as a spell scroll, but when you attempt to cast it, nothing happens because you can't really you can't make it through. This isn't something that's like within
Okay.
your wheelhouse.
So then I just stick my arm back out and give it back to Cookie.
Yeah, so he like takes it, he frustratedly opens up and then just like rolls it back up and gives it to you.
Use this.
Fergus is like, what the fuck are you doing?
What was that all about?
I just thought I'd get something done here. You two are just standing there arguing, trying to figure out, should we drink the water? Should we fill the water up? Should we get rid of the water? Just use the thing.
That's not how decisions are made.
Yeah, you're right. We got to figure this out together, right? Even though we just met each other, we're going to figure this out together.
In the meantime, Bear's just gonna drink some more water.
Okay. It tastes similarly good as it did
It
before.
tastes so good.
But it doesn't hurt, Bear.
What?
Doesn't hurt.
It does not hurt.
No.
Okay. All right, guys. So I can do this spell, but I don't know if we should do it. We should put this to a vote. What do you guys think? Obviously, mysterious friend wants us to do it.
Maybe
What
one
about
of
you,
the
Fergus?
maybe one of the sparkle people can see what's making the fountain so magical.
Yeah, I think that's what we're putting a vote to right now. We're trying to
No,
figure
she
out
wants
if-
to use the scroll. Why don't you look in the water? See if it's
We've definitely all looked at the water. We've been standing around it for a little bit.
but nobody's like investigated the water is what I'm suggesting.
There is an
Oh.
investigation thing. Somebody
There's
can
like a
roll that.
chuckle from behind you all that you, Rokuzin, recognize to be the like acolyte that you remember from growing up.
Oh.
And there's a woman like standing behind you all in like kind of symbolish robes, but they're like yellow in hue, and there's like cloth of gold, sort of like embroidery and like embellishments to it. And she's just kind of like giggling into her hand. And when you turn around like that, she's just looking at you. Rokuzin says,
I imagine that me and her are like buddies. So I'm like, hey, Hannah. That's her name. I'm saying her name's
All
Hannah.
right, fine. Her name's Hannah now.
I'm like, hey.
So she kind of like laughs and like, yeah, like there's a familiarity there.
Yeah.
And she says, after all this time, and you don't know why.
What do I not know? Why what?
Timora, if you come to the lady, you receive a blessing. Of course.
Is there a reason for that? That I don't know?
She's the goddess of fortune. She doesn't necessarily smile on everyone, but when she smiles on you, it's worth celebrating.
Huh. So maybe this is nothing more than the goddess at work. I threw in some coins earlier, and now she's repaid us with this scroll. Maybe we can use it later.
Maybe it won't come of any use to you at all. Just something that she gave you.
You know what? My vote is that we don't use this scroll. I don't think there's anything going on with this fountain other than the local religion. I think we need to just go back about our day, enjoy the rest of this festival, and then I'm gonna head out before nightfall. The encloaked one.
Fergus goes, so it's a halfling slot machine, and he kind of smiles and throws in one of his gold pieces.
Ooh, a gold, okay.
That's what I was asking for before.
She kind of laughs at you and says, well, Timora is a goddess of all. I don't know why you would, and then like it plinks into the water, or plunks, I should say, as you do that. So go ahead and roll 1d100 for me. Bleh.
Is Bear still drinking?
I think I'm full.
It's built around a naturally occurring underground spring, as I had mentioned earlier. So even though Bear is drinking some, it's like it is fulfilling itself from the bottom. Like this structure was built to house the water that was coming up from this spring. 70.
Prince Fergus Bog of the Kingdom of Faraway rolls 70.
For a moment, as you toss this in and you're looking down in the water, it's like the bottom of it disappears. All of a sudden, you can't see the bottom of the fountain. The coins are all gone. It looks like this, like almost like a tube of just a vast expanse of water. And you, like, for a moment, it almost feels like there's rocks in your shoes and it's a little uncomfortable. But that feeling kind of goes away after a moment. And it was just like a really odd sensation. And you just feel like if there was a foot race today, you would definitely win.
Ooh.
Like you're not really sure why, but you just feel fast. You just feel like agile. Like
a little bit more limber.
Yeah, like you had a really good stretch all of a sudden. Like it's bizarre.
Do we notice watching Fergus do this? Do we notice anything like we did earlier when Rokuzin did?
Yeah, so anyone who's like who has happened to look at the water as he kind of like does this without really like announcing ahead of time that he's going to do it, you see kind of the same thing to an extent. Like you're looking in the water and it's like as the coin hits the water, instead of having this sort of like topical reaction it did before, the waves almost look like you're looking into a deep expanse of water. Like for whatever reason, you couldn't see the bottom for a second there. And then it was like you were looking in and it looked like a vast expanse of water. And then you could just almost like see something moving in it. Like there was like a shadow that passed and then it went back to normal. There didn't seem to be a reaction on him like there was last time, except there was like a slight expression he made as if he had like stepped on something funny for a second there, like a slight, ever so slight, like not even a wince, but like an acknowledgement that there was like some modicum of discomfort, and then everything looked like it did before.
What did you see?
It's Sparkle guy. You should try jumping in.
I'll pass.
Oh, come on. Everybody else is playing in the water. Why don't you jump in?
You made a noise like you saw something. Did you see something?
It was nothing. You should jump in. I didn't see the bottom fall out. It was fine. Why don't you jump in?
Can I try to persuade him to say what he saw?
I'm sure. What would you say to try to talk this type of character into like not kind of like playfully messing back with you into like actually share? What do you think you would say to accomplish that?
I'd say, listen, oaf. You're gonna have to throw me in. Why don't you tell me what you saw?
That's not gonna work for me. I could roll intimidation to be like, yeah, I will throw him in.
So first, go ahead and make your persuasion roll.
Oh yeah, he needs to.
Yeah.
19.
Oh shit, that's pretty.
So, well, remember, like, this is like a skill.
Yeah.
Like, it can't override your free will.
Yeah.
Skills do not do that. That is only a spell can do that. And you would still get a save. So, go ahead and make an insight check.
10. Yeah.
Okay.
My charisma is not my strong suit. And oh no, that's wisdom.
Insight is wisdom.
Yeah, damn it.
So he says this, and like against all like practicality, which you would think, like if someone was trying to talk you into doing something or like persuade you, like influence your decision making process in some way, you would think that they would appeal to you, especially being someone of your birth. You're used to people kind of like the idea of people like prostrating themselves to you, like begging or beseeching, and the fact that this person is so like flippantly treating you like anyone else, you can choose to feel about that however you want, but it's just like an interesting way to approach it. You don't really understand what his angle is, but it's like strangely like maybe not refreshing or not like appealing, because there's like a degree of respect that you would like, but it's kind of like when a royal has a good advisor who isn't just a yes man. It's almost like that sort of treatment. You don't necessarily trust him, but he's not like pulling any punches with you. And there's a degree of respect you can allow to that.
I think Fergus is just like, I don't know what's up with the thing. It's magic. That's all I can tell you. Because I think for one, like feeling more limber he's not gonna know that, oh, this is a thing. He's just gonna, and he already kind of joked about the thing going away, so he's just going like, it's a magic thing, that's all I know.
All right.
Okay. Are we done here at this fountain? I'm done. There's nothing more to do here at this fountain, ladies and
I mean,
gentlemen.
he could jump in.
I think we should ask around, find out more about this fountain.
I really don't think it's anything more than the goddess Timora.
I think Fergus talks to Hannah, and is like, can you tell me more about your goddess, the fountain lady,
the halfling
Timora?
Yeah,
she's the lady of fortune. Fortune favors the bold. Fortune favors the giving. She encourages us to take care, especially of adventurers. Mostly our temples offer healing services, and sometimes we donate things that have been donated to us to help you in your quest. It's a dangerous life, and she likes people who pursue that sort of thing and test their luck. She can often be heard being invoked or beseeched, and also worshipped in houses where gambling occurs, but she looks over everyone. Her blessings are they are as much of a chance as anything about fate and fortune could be. There's never really a reason to know why unless she actually speaks directly to you, in which case I think that you would probably be somebody who had spent their lives in dedication to her, because if not, that would be rather unfair, but fortune is as it is, so...
Has she spoken to you?
Not directly. She does answer my prayers when I ask for someone to be healed or try to augur decisions to help them make their way in the future. So my prayers are successful. There's reward for my devotion, but I haven't had like a vision or anything like that.
What'd you get from the fountain?
I've never received anything from the fountain. I gather the coins that are offered to her daily, and we use that in helping tend to the poor and the adventurers that come through.
So you spent your entire life taking care of this gambling parlor, and you don't even get anything?
This is not a gambling parlor.
Tomato.
Everyone that worships gods has a tendency to want to give them offerings in exchange for, or in hopes of garnering favor or just having good luck, having them smile upon them in some way. And I don't know. I suppose the life of taking care of people who are a little bit more apt to risk taking seemed like a path for me. She's just always spoken to me in a more metaphysical sense, I suppose.
Excuse me, miss. You and Rokuzin here, you guys know each other. Is there anyone else around that might be excited to hear he's back in town and maybe would like to see him?
Only he would know that, I suppose.
Let me think. I'm gonna say no, because, like, I feel like if there were, I would have already went to him. You know what I mean? I feel like Hannah's the only one that... She's the only one that, like, has stayed in the area of the festival and that was there since I grew up, you know? But me and her, we go way back. We're buddies. I wish I had more time to catch up, but...
Well, why don't we? You know, we were just gonna head down the road. Why don't we go hang out for a little while?
Yeah, sure. I'm down with it. Hannah, are you working? Like, are you on the clock? Like, what's the deal here?
When do you punch out?
Can you take a 15? Like,
Many people have come to the fountain today, but we haven't been administering sermons because everyone is off. Really, this whole festival is a little bit touched by Timur. These are all games of chance in a way. Like, every measure of skill still has a certain degree of chance to it. So
that's what Big Green Guy's been saying this whole time.
Yeah. So your people are the ones rigging it.
No, not rigging anything. These prizes are paltry. Why would we go to the trouble of making people lose out on a meat pie?
Man, I don't know what your halfling people are into, but it was rigged.
Hey man, don't talk to Hannah like that, all right? She's just doing her best. She's still on the clock. Like, she's working this place. Okay,
I got no problem with
break.
her. They're just, the games are rigged.
She puts her hand on your shoulder, kind of like in like a reassuring pat, and she's like, and where there is some degree of chance in every game of skill, there still has to be a decent amount of skill. So,
fucking got him.
I think if you're all looking for something to do, the dance should start soon. And this year, I think they've got a sword dancer who also breathes fire. That should be nice and interesting, and a little bit of a change from the routine. And afterwards, there's this troupe that everyone's been talking about. They call themselves the Mages of Light or the Mages of Luminosity or something along those lines. And
do they sparkle?
Yes, they intend to do some sort of light-based show after the sun goes down.
He whacks the sorcerer and is like, look, other sparkle magic.
It's your sparkle magic.
Yes, I heard.
I'm sorry for him. He's a handful.
Oh, this isn't even remotely the worst thing I've ever seen. And she kind of like, she walks over to the front of this temple, and like she mentioned there not being a lot of activity. It does definitely seem like everybody's out enjoying the festival. She takes out like a key and she locks the door, and she's like looks over in the fountain. She gathers up the coins that are there first, goes back inside, places them inside somewhere, comes back out and locks the door. And says, here, I'll show you. I'll show you the way.
All right.
And she leads you over to kind of like, it's not in the central portion of town, but it's kind of like adjacent to that. Like the opening area is where the sort of like carnival and like food court-esque type areas are set up. And then there's like the bazaar kind of in the middle. And on the other side of that, this like pavilion has been erected, and they're like local bards, like performing just various like jovial songs, and you could hear that the whole time that you were engaging in the festival. There's always like music or something coming from some corner, storytellers, what have you. All of the storytellers have stopped. All of the musicians have stopped. There's like one like bardic troupe that's finishing up their last song as you make your way over there. And it's heading on into the evening now. It's not dark or anything outside, but it's kind of like that like dusky sort of like sun going down type of time frame. And somebody gets up on this pavilion and they're making this announcement about the summer festival. We've been doing this here for many years, and my father before him and his father before him, and we've always purveyed like blah blah blah. And he's kind of like droning on and on about the history of the town and how his family's taken care of it for all these generations and whatever. And they're not like nobility, but they're obviously like some sort of like governance, and it's been like passed down hereditarily. And he says, without further ado, the warrior dance. And he kind of like walks off of stage, and he introduces this person called Mithrae Apollyon. And this woman, she walks on stage, and she's got this caramely, pretty like shiny skin that she seems to have like maybe there's like a golden sheen to it, like she has applied some sort of like really luminescent makeup that reflects the light a lot. She sets down a few different like bottles or like flasks of things type of on the side, and there's like this long dangling red cloth tucked into this belt. She's wearing a lot of cloth clothing, but there's leathers over it that are of the similar color. So there's bits of her outfit which are like these flowy pants and like a sleeveless sort of top. There's aspects of it that have loose flowing cloth so that they can kind of like move as she moves, but a lot of it is sort of shrouded by this similarly colored leather. And the reason for that becomes apparent when she pulls out 3 sabers. And there's like a group of bards off to the side who are playing this kind of like, it's almost like mostly a cadence, like of percussive sounds more than there's like a lot of like wind instruments that are involved. But to coincide with the music of the band, she begins to dance, and she's got these like very real looking sabers that look sharp and dangerous, and she's like throwing them up in the air, and she's able to catch them with her bare hands and kind of like flip them around and do these like spinning tricks with them. And she'll do it with one hand on one as she throws another one up in the air and catches it and twirls it around her. And then there's a point where she stabs one down into the like planks that make up this pavilion, where it's like kind of like slides between 2 of them, so it's less that she's like strength stabbing that into the ground and more like she's like deliberately like placed it there so that it will hold its place for a moment. And she crouches down and like deftly takes a swig from one of these flasks and grabs a torch that's been placed off to the side, and she kind of like out over above the crowd. She's far enough away that it wouldn't actually be over anyone's head, but because of the spectacle of it, it does kind of like look like this fire comes shooting out over everyone as she pulls the torch in front of her face and like blows this arc of fire out. And she continues on for like a solid 30 minutes. And at first it seems like there's like a performance aspect to it. And then she kind of like sets everything down and she engages in this dance. And you can hear kind of like the talk in the area of people recounting the like story of the warrior goddess and the constellation, and how she like fought a great battle and was forever immortalized in the stars, and that's what this is representing. And she's going through these like battle stances, and there starts to be as time goes on and she finishes up and the sun is starting to go down, the same person comes back out and he's announcing these mages of light. And these 3 sorcerers, and he says the mages of light, they are the sorcerers of light. So you know them to be sorcerers, perhaps. That's what they call themselves anyway. He introduces them, they take their hoods off, and he introduces Madon, Leona, and Nils. And they essentially, there's no music accompaniment to this, but it's like a fireworks show, if you were to think of it in like the performance in modern day. Some of them are much larger than what you would be familiar with via prestidigitation, the sorcerer. And what spells do you have, Cookie? Or what cantrips, I should say. I think it's Mage Hand and Minor Illusion. You think that they're probably using some minor illusion. You're familiar with prestidigitation. You don't personally know it, but it was one of the options that you had when you were learning your cantrips. So you recognize that they're using that. There's some other spells that seem a little bit different, though. It's hard to say exactly what they've done. Maybe they're just making like a combination of different things, but some of them are bigger than you would have expected them to be. And it seems like they're almost able to like to cast these spells in such a way that they like shoot away from them and then like explode further on. And you're not sure whether it's they're actually like really powerful and these are spells that would have other intentions, or that they're just like using these as a spectacle and that's the way that they make a living instead of doing something more dangerous like delving into temples and ruins and things like that. But it's like a dazzling display. There's all the colors of the rainbow. It starts off small. It ends with this like grand finale. And there's like this sort of moment that they've obviously worked up to where the three of them will face each other and they start casting some sort of spell. And the spellcasters in the group can recognize that a lot of what they're doing is for show at first because it doesn't seem to have any sort of arcane significance, the sort of like motions that they're going through. But then at the end, they do something really quickly and this like beam of light shoots up out of their hands, almost like it's a projectile, and it goes shooting up into the air. And as it explodes, it's centered kind of like, as you watch it go up into the air, it's like they've lined it up with the constellation that you recognize to be the warrior goddess. And even if you weren't familiar with what that was before, there have been pictures and posters and carvings and things all over this festival. So at this point, it would be impossible for you not to be able to tell what that looks like in the sky. And it explodes and you see the initial like really big shimmer of golden and blue light, and it is really impressive, and especially the spellcasters are thinking like, gosh, maybe that's something I can do maybe someday. I don't know what type of spell that it might be, but it looks really impressive. And as the kind of like initial light from that starts to fade, there's this tiny like white light that you almost can't even see at first that begins to expand. And then pink comes out of it, and blue comes out of it, and gold comes out of it, and green comes out of it. But instead of it being like this like explosive shower of sparks, it's like an epicenter, and this circle, like shockwave almost, is coming out of it. And as you're watching, you realize that this isn't something that they have done perceptibly, because it doesn't appear to be in like the sky in front of you so much as it appears to be in the sky. And as this tiny like ball of light gets bigger, it's actually starting to like illuminate the area that has started to like dim with the sun going down. And there's like this weird uncomfortable silence that falls over everyone, and the three of them are still standing there looking up at it, kind of just staring and not moving. And this gets bigger and bigger, and it's almost like it was over the point of the tip of the sword, and it begins to spread. And it's hard to say how big this might have become, but it was big enough to almost encompass the full size of the sword in this constellation, which is like half the size of the constellation. It's massive. You can see the light from this like explosion on the faces of everyone in the crowd. And as this is happening, a voice rings out in the crowd, and it's kind of like panicked, and it's hurried, and it sounds like masculine in nature. It's hard to tell where it's coming from because like the sun is going down and there's a whole huge crowd of people. There's like hundreds of people here, but someone is yelling about a prophecy. The prophecy. He says, I knew it. The time was right. The prophecy. The warrior woman bathes in light. A time of war, a time of strife. When the star returns tonight, the stone is the only key to life. And he's like yelling this over and over, and people are starting to like whisper amongst themselves. Something should have popped up for you. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
So this is what you're seeing.
Oh.
Spread out across the sky, like supernova style. And at first it wasn't clear that it wasn't like a firework or whatever, but eventually it became very abundantly clear that this was something going on like celestially. This is in the heavens, quote unquote. And that's what the person was yelling about.
The guy comes out and yells this prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, can we? Where is he? Can we find?
I turn
this
to
voice?
Rokuzin and say, "Hey, when were we gonna head out?"
It was gonna be before it got dark, but they started this whole Hannah let us down here. They started this whole show. Where's the guy who just yelled about the prophecy?
Next time, will they find out who yelled about the prophecy? Will Morthos stay, or will he just fuck off? Because
Or ever give us his name?
Stuff?
Me and Rokuzin hitting the road.
Yeah, will they ever find out what his name is? Did Bear enjoy the fireworks show? Did Cookie get a new cookie idea from the fireworks show? Next time.
I like it.
Heck yeah.
I didn't get a chance to do this because Teddy interrupted me, but sorry, cookies make me gassy.
After this,
You were gonna say that like an hour ago when you got a cookie.
That's what I was. After that, I was just like, Fergus is gonna fart now. Okay, so you will enjoy this exciting conclusion at another time, but everyone's gonna tell you where you can find more about them, starting with Teddy Chinaris.
Fergus is gonna fart now. Jesus Christ. Twitch.tv/Teddy Chinaris. Twitter is the same. Instagram's the same. YouTube as well. You know, just do the things. Yeah.
Matt.
At Dilbert Pickled on the internet. So Twitch, Twitter. Probably, actually, most of my appearances are on Last Geek related content now. So check out Last Geek stuff.
Bear.
Bear.
Twitch.tv/Dr. Beckers with an S and Twitter.com/Dr. Beckers with a Z.
Aaron, do you want to plug your Twitter?
I guess. I don't really have a social presence, but
Do it.
if you want to follow me on
That's the way
Twitter,
to be.
it's at AaronC789.
You can follow me on twitter.com/lastgeek, lastgeek.com, and youtube.com/lastgeek. Katie, our amazing DM, where can people hear more from you?
I'm Katie Quixotic everywhere. Surprisingly, nobody uses that in their usernames. So the only places I really use it are Twitch and Twitter. I don't really do much with Instagram, and I haven't been streaming on Twitch as much lately, but if you do want to watch anything, just follow me on Twitter, and that's where you'll be able to, I'll tell you what I'm doing.
Cool. And you'll hear the exciting conclusions next time.
On Dragon Ball. Wait.
Bye.
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 Bye.